Hey YouTube, Mr. Rampro here. I wanted to do this knife review on the Cryo series of knives, and I know I haven't done quite a few knife reviews here lately, and I kind of got out of it, and I'll be honest with you, it was more of an on-purpose kind of thing. I did have a lot of things going on personally that you guys don't really care about, obviously, but nothing bad. I just felt like I was getting kind of keeping up with the Joneses attitude, and buying every new knife and every new custom maker and trying to keep up with everybody else and Instagram and YouTube and all that other stuff just to try to I don't know, I just felt like if I had that knife, then that would be the answer and all that kind of stuff. And what I've found through my travels of knives, and I've got hundreds of knives, is that there's no one knife that's better than any other knife. It's kind of your original love for the knife is what makes it more important. And I've been carrying everything. I sold a lot of my high-end knives, and I've been carrying everything that I had before. Kind of, I did keep some of the things, but I've been carrying more things that are kind of out of the norm, or things that I used to carry, like Enduras and Delicas, that I don't now because they're not as popular as what they once were. And I kind of felt like I needed to get back to my roots of why I fell in love with knives in the first place. And of course, one is looks, and then two is functionality and how I used them. I was buying, Sabenzas and Three Sisters Forge, which I still have that beast, which is a nice knife. But I find myself not using it, and not really enjoying the knife because I don't want to tear it up. My Microtechs I don't use because I don't want to tear them up, and I don't want to scratch them, and well, resale value wouldn't be any good, and I got to keep all the boxes and all the stuff, and I just felt like I was kind of getting out of touch with the reality of the knife community and how much it means to me to actually be in love with knives. So I tailored back completely. I did focus on some other things, raising chickens and doing kind of more, I guess you can say, self-preparedness and homestead type things, gardening, and getting kind of more rounding myself as far as where I think I need to be. But either way, I've kind of gotten back to the point now where I was when I started, which is what I wanted. I wanted to be ecstatic about a $25, $30 knife, and I wanted to be super happy with a $50 knife, and that's where I wanted to be. I didn't want to have to be super happy with a $500 knife. That's not good for me, and it's not good for my family, so I just kind of wanted to get back to there. And anyways, I know that's a lot of rambling, so I'll have to put in the little notes below, skip to 244 if you don't want to have to hear me ramble. But either way, this is the Kershaw Cryo series. Wow, sorry. And this is actually the box for the Cryo 2. And I got the Cryo 2 today. I've already opened it. But either way, pretty cool little box. I do think that there's something to be said for marketing and for making your stuff look neat, And Kershaw obviously understands that with their Emerson lines and with all their other lines, and makers that they're kind of getting on board with and stuff. And Kershaw's always been a really big brand in my mind. There's a lot of USA-made knives, and I'm really a big, supporter of that type of thing. And actually, I thought that these were USA-made when I ordered them, but when I got this one and it wasn't, I figured, okay, well, maybe this one would be. I didn't really do my research. It was one of these things where you get over $100 and you get a deal, on a website or something. It was from Midway, so I saw this, and I knew I liked the smaller one to a degree, so I wanted to try the bigger brother. But either way, let's go ahead and start. Now, we'll start with the Cryo 1. This here is actually a pretty cool knife. These are both Hinderer designs, which are extremely popular and extremely expensive, and that kind of thing. But I wanted something that I could use and not feel bad about, in a price point that I was comfortable with if I lost it or something like that. So these are both spring-assisted knives. Very nice swedges. This one here, yeah, it is the 8CR 13 MOV steel. Let's just verify that real quick. This thing is very sharp. When you get it, this 18CR, good Lord, now I can't remember it. 18CRV, what is, let's see, make sure I'm not saying it wrong now. 18CR 13 MOV. Holy crap, right? Anyways, that steel gets extremely sharp. When I first got this thing, I sliced my hand wide open playing with it. Not even, and I mean, realistically, it's a freaking knife, but I got kind of caught up in this whole flipping motion in one of those things where somehow I didn't get my finger out of the way and cut my finger a little bit. But either way, very fast knife, very cool swedges, Cool, blade design, of course. The Rick Hender line is extremely large. I do have a couple of his pins and stuff like that, which we'll cover that in another video. But this finish here, this is all stainless steel handles and everything, and there is like a bead blasted finish over it. I'm not 100% on everything with it and the nitride coatings and all that other nonsense. I wanted to do a basic overview and then kind of talk about a couple of things with it. So we'll get into negatives and then positives, and then we'll get back into it with the big brother here. Negatives, I would have to say the first negative would be this choil here. This thing is freaking sharp, man. You start really using this knife, this thing will start digging in, and I thought about getting the sandpaper out and rounding it off, and I just kind of hadn't gotten around to it. I actually stopped carrying it because of that, and just kind of got out of tune with even messing with the knife. I was like, you know what, screw this. I don't want to deal with this crap, I kind of got out of my little modding phase for a little bit. But either way, you can adjust the clip to all 4 points. You do have nice black hardware. It does contrast the gray pretty well. And let's see here. Let me see if I can focus it. There we go. You have the Kershaw logo here on the blade, which is expected. The edge is actually holding up pretty good. I did carry this to work several days, and everything worked out pretty well. I mean, of course, it opened just like every other knife. It did everything that I would want all my knives to do. So the only thing was the size. I didn't like the comfort in the hand. I thought it was a little too small, and I thought that choil was just a little too sharp. That finger guard was just a little too annoying. So I kind of got away from it. The slicing ability was actually really good. You do have quite a thin blade here. That was pretty nice. So either way, and I guess realistically, negatives-wise, I mean, size and this here, which is kind of a minimal thing. There weren't too many negatives with the knife. I really liked it. I liked what it provided for me, which was kind of a touch of the custom world without having to pay the custom price, or I guess mid-tech or production or whatever, whatever the buzzwords are for this week in the knife community. You do have flow-through design, which I really appreciate that. I mean, as you start using your knives, and if you don't just collect them, you don't just put them in the safe queen, or as safe queens, you really start using them. It really is kind of one of those things that's very convenient when you're cleaning up after, cutting up vegetables or cleaning fish or doing things that are a little bit messier than what you would normally do with a knife. Lockup is really good. You wouldn't expect anything different with the stainless steel liners, which is another good thing. I didn't have to worry about the titanium wearing or anything like that, which I'll be honest with you, none of my knives have worn out in the amount of time that I've used them, so that's kind of a mute discussion in my opinion. But either way, the knife was good, nice decent lanyard hole, but I wanted a little bit more out of it, and when I was adding the items to get to the discounted price on my midway order for a recent gun purchase, I saw this and I was like, I really like that apocalyptic look, the worn, they call this the Blackwash, I believe, Blackwash series. I really like how that looks, just really cool. That would be something that I would do to my knife to give that distressed, like, really cool look to it. So when I saw it and saw that it still had the deep pocket clip and everything like that, I was like, I'm going to go ahead and go for it. It's a little bit bigger, which is what I kind of prefer. It's nice and thin, which I love. That was another big pro here on this knife, was the nice thin profile. You could carry it in your pocket and you didn't have to worry about it. It is a little heavier, but it's not bad. I've grown to like, I carry two knives. I carry a traditional knife, and then I carry a bigger knife like this. This is kind of my work knife, and then I carry a smaller traditional knife for like my food stuff, cutting up steak at lunch, or cutting up leftovers or whatever, peeling an apple, doing whatever I do at work. And I really liked the thin profile, being able to carry this in the pocket and not have it be obtrusive or in my way or anything like that. Like I said, I just got this, so I haven't changed any clip orientation or anything, so when you get it, it will be tipped down, which I might keep. That'll keep this out of the way of my hand when I'm going in and out of my pocket, and it'll keep this edge away. I don't think you have, and you don't have the problem like what you have with a Sabenza, where your little bit of blade will stick out. And I've cut myself once or twice on that little bit of blade that'll stick out here in my Sabenza, so I do like the recessed portion of that. Either way, let's go ahead and open it. This thing's pretty quick. I was playing with my Kershaw Blur the other day. A buddy of mine's asking for, you know, kind of advice on what kind of knives to buy. And he was giving me some gun advice, and I was giving him some knife advice. And I told him the Kershaw Blur was really, for the price, I mean, one of the fastest, nicest knives that you can have. Nice thin profile, has a grippy texture, you know, and everything like that. So he was kind of, you know, listening to that, and we brought up the Cryo series. So I mentioned this one, and while I was on the internet, I was like, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and try it out. So we'll see how it does. I will do, you know, maybe an update video later on whenever it matters. But either way, the main, you know, discrepancy I had with the smaller brother here was that this choil and this finger guard was very sharp. And on this one, they've done, when they say black wash, they've stone washed the tar out of this thing, man. And this is nice and smooth. I love this. Very comfortable in the hand. Very good size. I mean, let's see here. I'm not too big on the specs. I'm sure there's 1,000 other great YouTube viewers that are doing the specs and stuff. Like I said, I've kind of floated away from that a little bit. I don't think that's as important as it is to see the knife before you buy it and see, you know, kind of what's going on with it. And okay, yeah, I'm not reading all that. But I think that you looking at it and just talking to somebody, if you're anything like me, I get on YouTube and like to hear you guys ramble more than I like to hear, you know, 3.7-inch blade length and all that other crap. You know, that's not really what I want to hear. I want to hear your opinions. You know, I want to hear what you think about it. What'd you do with it that day and stuff like that. So this video is more of a ramble, but hopefully will appease some of those desires as well. Either way, the stonewash finish is really freaking excellent. I do like how they left some of the hardware black, just like they did, I guess, all the hardware. They left it black just like they did on the smaller version. And if you just look at the colors here, they look really nice. Let's see, is it going to focus for me? There we go. Really nice. Great distressed look. Cool marketing deal. I can tell you right now, that is very awesome. I'm probably going to buy more knives like this in this black wash series from Kershaw just because of that. That is so freaking cool to me. Either way, I know this is a lot of rambling and a lot of back history and a lot of stories, so you guys that logged in just to hear about, you know, a great overview, I apologize. But either way, I thought it was worth mentioning. When I opened it in the mail, I was like, you know, I opened up the holster for my Ruger LC9S, and this is one of the Blade Tech holsters, and I opened it up and this was in the same package, and I was like, I gotta freaking tell you guys about this. This is freaking sweet. The price point was what, $45 or something like that. Really cool knife. So I'm gonna use it, and I'm sure you'll see it on future videos, you know, if I go that route. Like I said, I kind of think that, you know, it's kind of gotten a little out of hand on some of the things. I like the videos you guys do, so keep it up, and we'll see you next time. Thanks a lot.